as we know by now, nagkaroon sa Australia, sa Bondi Beach ng isang nakababahalang terrorism attack. Yung nakakaapekto sa atin dahil sa mga attacks na yon ay dahil yung dalawang identified na attackers. Well, but before that, i-explain lang po muna natin. There was a Hanukkah celebration ng isang Jewish community. Tapos nandun sila dun sa yung where the event was, medyo mababa siya. Mayroong parang flyover or daanan, part of the road, mataas, can overlook the area of the venue. So na-attack sila doon, and as of the last time I checked, 15 ang confirmed na pumanaw na, at mayroon pang ilang in critical condition. Yung isa doon sa attacker is confirmed na deceased, tapos mayroon yung out of his coma na yung second na attacker who is 24 years old. Now, ang marami pong nag-message sa akin at tinatanong kung confirm po ba na pumunta sa Pilipinas yung dalawang mga attackers. So yes, confirmed na po at ilan na po ang nakapag-report tungkol dito. They arrived in the Philippines, in Manila on November 1 at umalis ng November 28. Ang nilagay nilang final destination nila in the Philippines is Davao. Not Davao City, they just said Davao, at least dun sa mga reports na nabasa ko. Now, maraming repercussions yan para sa atin. Marami ring questions are still unanswered about that. Pero sino ba itong mga ito? May links ang mga attackers, particularly the younger one, yung buhay pa. Ang links nila, alleged links, sa ngayon wala pang sinasabi na confirmed yon. May alleged links to ISIL or ISIS sa ISIS. So, tinitingnan pa po sa ngayon ang correlation nila doon nga sa mga sa local terrorism groups dito sa Pilipinas, dyan sa Pilipinas. So, yung mga gunmen are named, identified na sila. Yung deceased ay si Sajid Akram, yung younger one is si Navid. So, si Navid ay Australian born, so citizen siya. Yung father niya yung immigrant. In-examine daw si Navid about his links to a Sydney-based ISIS cell. So, under investigation na siya noon. Noon pa, in 2019. So, marami ngayon nag-speculate tungkol doon sa anong ginawa ng dalawa sa Pilipinas. Ang widely disseminated na teorya ay nag-training sila. So, wala pa pong confirmation on that. But what we can do is look at the history of yung ilang mga local groups sa Pilipinas, no? Halimbawa, nung nagkaroon tayo ng Anti-Terrorism Act noong 2020 dahil nakakabahala na yung mga reports na naririnig tungkol dun sa mga di umanong kampo ng mga terorista na di umanong ginagamit daw para sa training. Hindi siya training in the sense na parang yung mga exercises and all that, but we have confirmation na may ibang mga internationally linked na local terrorist groups who have been training some of their fighters in making explosives and other ordnance. So, in 2020, after the Anti-Terrorism Act came into effect, nilink yung Islamic State East Asia and their associated groups and other Daesh-linked groups to the Abu Sayyaf, the Maute Group, Magid, Tura Ife, Hassan Groups, and the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters. Tapos, meron din yung tinatawag na, ayan. So, yan po ay declared na po sila, and ang hindi pa po nagagawa ay yung kanilang yung affirmation ng Court of Appeals sa kanilang designation. But what are the repercussions dito sa Pilipinas or sa Pilipinas? Number one, we will be subject to international scrutiny, possibly diplomatic consequences. So, kasi may UN Security Council resolution na inendorso ng Pilipinas saying yung mga terrorist fighters and transnational organized crime groups target gaps in weak border infrastructure, and continue to exploit porous and uncontrolled borders. So, subject to scrutiny o titignan ng maigi ng mga international groups at of course, mga turista ang mga ang ating borders. Tayo ba ay safe dahil pinupulis ba natin ng maayos ang pagpasok at labas ng mga grupo na may mga links sa ganito. So, security and border control implications yan. So, ngayon, since madalas pag naririnig niyo yung announcement we're in the Philippines, went to Mindanao, buong Mindanao medyo nadadamay samantalang hindi naman kumbaga hindi naman uniform ang peace and order situation all over Mindanao, but Mindanao will still get a bad rap. So, magkakaroon ngayon ng closer scrutiny kung ano na ang ginawa, lalong-lalo na ng current administration sa pagkokontrol ng terorismo. So, ano pa yung impact niyan sa Pilipinas? Paano tayo maaapektuhan yan? Well, of course, mababa na ang tourism ngayon. Posibleng gawin nila yung dahilan para i-explain kung bakit napakababa. Samantalang all over the region, mataas naman po ang turismo. Ngayon, yung foreign direct investments, pabagsak na nga. But with the reports na nanggaling dito, ang dalawang identified na attackers doon sa Bondi Beach na terrorist attack, ito po ay magkakaroon din ng epekto sa at mga gustong mag-invest sa Pilipinas. So, ngayon, ano pa? This calls into question also yung leadership ni PDM.
Hello?
Wait,
What can I do for you?
How did you get here?
Why did you invite me?
I did not.
You did.
I did not.
Then how did I get here?
I do not know, but I did not. Please leave.
No, nobody will get me.
Dali lang po, may nag-hijack dun sa ano namin, sa TikTok namin.
No, we're not going anywhere. Why did you invite me?
Okay. Dali lang po ha, medyo may nag-hijack dun sa aming TikTok. All right, potential other outcomes. Well, mostly negative nga yung posibleng outcome dito kasi we do not really want to be associated with any kind of incident like this, and we do not really want to be associated with any of the personalities involved. Bukod pa dyan, naging stricto na ang Pilipinas simula nung 2020 and so on na magpulis at mag-monitor ng mga ganitong klaseng mga grupo. So marami kasing incidents like yung 2017, of course, hindi natin nakakalimutan ang Marawi. Marami rin po tayong ibang mga nakikita na kumbaga, ang domestic terrorism sa atin, it has been a concern for the longest time. So ang unang-unang ang nadeklara ay ang CPP, NPA, NDF bilang designated terrorist group sa Pilipinas. Ganyan tayo ka-concerned kasi nagtagal yung grupo na yon for the longest time. And nung kinirecognize ng international groups ang terrorism as similar to a crime against humanity, kumbaga, it is one of the highest na kinamumuhian ng mundo. And so anybody who is involved in it, anybody who abets it, anybody who is connected in this way may suffer international repercussions, and they can be very, very serious repercussions. Hindi po naman sinasabi, Ma'am Mocha Princess, wala naman pong nagsasabing taga Davao sila. Ang sabi ni Ma'am, hindi ko mag-gets kung bakit damay ang Davao when they were Pakistani born with East Indian passports at may international student visa yung tatay. They only identified Davao as their destination. Pero wala namang kinalaman ang Davao City sa kanila because no city or municipality in the Philippines will certify you. Diba? Will certify na, oh yes, dito pupunta unless these people were specifically invited. So kung wala silang pinapakita na invitation or anything like that, then hindi naman po madadamay ang Davao. Pero binabanggit ang Davao as their identified destination in Mindanao. So, will it affect our diplomatic relationship with Israel? That remains to be seen. For instance, kung hindi gagalaw ang Philippine authorities to address this, kung hindi gagalaw ang Philippine authorities to show that they are serious about addressing not just the incidents like this, not just border control, but controlling even our domestic terrorist groups, then we will have to see. I'm not sure, no, kasi we have a long history with Israel. But kumbaga, in recent times, the president has been quoted with certain statements na hindi tayo sure kung ano ba talaga ang stand natin doon. But as far as Israel is concerned, we have a long history of diplomatic relations with them, and it remains for our local authorities and the Philippine government to assuage, kumbaga, that this is not a policy. Kailangan i-establish ng ating mga autoridad na yung pagpasok ng dalawang ganito ay hindi matter of policy at hindi rin negligence on the part of the Philippine government. So, titingnan yan, isi-scrutinize ngayon ang Pilipinas, ang immigrations natin. Ano ba yung sinasabi nilang mga backdoor na yan, mga porous borders and so on. So, merong mga iba na binibring up nila yung pagpasok ng mga Afghan refugees sa Pilipinas. Based on the reports, ang nakita natin with regard to the Afghan refugees is pumayag ang Pilipinas na gawing transit point tayo for the refugees habang pinoproseso yung kanilang mga papeles at dokumento. Now, as far as the announcements by the US Embassy are concerned, nasa Pilipinas lang yung mga refugees for a couple of weeks or so, a few days. Tapos, supposedly, lahat sila ay na-ship out na to the United States, na proseso na ang kanilang mga dokumento. And hindi po 80,000 daw, according to the reports, ang nakapasok, kundi ilang daan lang. However, there have never been any pictures, no documentation was ever presented. Wala tayong nakita kahit anino ng mga yon at saan sila nagpunta, saan sila nagstay nung nasa Pilipinas, at kung kailan talaga sila nakaalis. So yung pag-raise ng mga issues na ganyan, ng correlations na ganyan, are kumbaga may basihan dahil nga hindi masyadong na-explain yan sa karamihan. Ito, sabi ni Mikey, the BBM admin voted to recognize a Palestinian state. Clearly, his admin does not fancy the Jewish state of Israel. I think that BBM is very much dictated by other foreign influences. Diba? And so, hindi natin alam kung sino-sino ang kausap niya at hindi rin natin alam kung kumbaga, if yung with regard to his consistency dito, as some people have noted before, the leadership isn't exactly strong pagdating sa mga certain influences. Okay. So yun, maraming ang concerned ngayon about yung mga Afghan refugees. We cannot presume that ang mga ito ay connected with the Afghan refugees. But I think that raising the issue is legitimate and is reasonable. Okay. Bago tayo magpatuloy, wag pong kakalimutan like, share, follow, and subscribe. I apologize for the gap kanina because there were some issues with our TikTok. Sabi ni Raymond, ang mahirap dyan, maski galit sila sa mga Duterte, ginagamit ang Davao para sa sariling kapakanan. Davao is the part of the Philippines at mamamayan kayo ng bansa. Ang kasiraan ng Pilipinas, kasiraan din ng Pinoy. Sabi ni Ma'am Evelyn, illegal ang pagpasok ng mga Afghanistan na pinahintulutan ni BBM, hindi man lang binabalita sa media. Actually, nabalita naman kasi nag-announce ang US Embassy ng arrival ng mga refugees na yun. In-announce din nila ang pag-alis. Unfortunately, masyadong kumbaga, downplayed at hindi natin alam kung saan talaga nagstay ang mga ito and if there were any related incidents. Sabi ni Ma'am Mocha Princess, Australia is looking for someone to blame for their domestic terrorism. Katodo point out ang Pakistan in Davao travels. Well, if this is the case, if this is true, then dapat pagdating sa ating administrasyon, prepared sila for this kind of publicity, for this kind of narrative. Dapat ngayon pa lang sinasalubong na ng Marcos administration yan. But of course, hindi tayo very hopeful na magiging overnight gagaling sila sa mga ganito o tatalino sila. But let's see. So, ang pinakamalaking tama dyan talaga ay turismo. So ngayon, ang nakikita kong possibility na mangyayari, ibe-blame yan. Next year, pag mababa ang mga tourism arrivals natin, sasabihin na naman ni Secretary, ay dahil kasi sa ganito, sa ganyan. Maraming may kasalanan para dun sa, sa mababang tourism arrivals natin. But it is rarely any of the things that Secretary Frasco says. So, uulitin ko ha, ang talagang scrutinize yan, ang may tama will be mostly our tourism industry as well as our credibility. Tayo ba ay tunay na ina-address ang worldwide issue of terrorism? Tayo ba ay ginagawa ba natin ang ating obligasyon doon sa Anti-Terrorism Act na ipinasa natin? Now, let's look at the Anti-Terrorism Act. Alam nyo ba, di ba, na-challenge ang ATA sa Korte Suprema at ito ay inuphold ng Supreme Court at sinabing ito ay constitutional. Pero tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang pagtutol ng ilang mga grupo dito, partikular na natural ang CPP, NPA, NDF, and of course, yung kanilang mga kaalyado at kanilang mga sympathizers. Ayaw nila ang Anti-Terrorism Act at ayaw nila ng mga polisiya na nag-a-address ng mga issue na ito. Naintindihan natin, natural kasi maaapekto ang kanilang existence. Pero titingnan natin, halimbawa, tama ito, sabi ni June Patrick, di na na-prioritize ang NTF-ELCAC ngayon. Hindi lang yan. Hindi nagamit ng NTF-ELCAC o hindi pinagamit ang kanilang pondo na inallocate under the 2025 budget, ay 2024 budget and 2025 budgets. So supposedly nag-revert yan. Ito, sabi ni Backstage Jane, these terrorists who do violent acts targeting certain religious groups travel quietly or discreetly or quietly from country to country before doing the deed. Davao may have been their backdoor to Australia. Wait ha, we have no evidence yet that they actually arrived in Davao. So wag ninyong palaganapin yon kasi yun talaga ang gagawin ng administrasyon. Davao was only mentioned dahil sinabi daw nila pagdating sa immigration sa Manila na yun ang destinasyon nila. Hindi ibig sabihin nun na talagang dun sila nagpunta. Hindi pa po na-establish kung ano o sa anong ginawa nila at saan sila. Ang alam pa lang so far is dumating sila ng November 1 at umalis ng November 28. Sabi ni Kenzo, natakal na po bang interview kay Frasco ng DOT got 3 trillion revenue from tourism? Hindi po, because hindi po natin binibigyan ng importansya ang mga ganyang klaseng bare allegations na wala namang pinapakita na patunay. Bukod pa dyan, ang daming nagre-reklamo sa mga local tourist operators natin, tourism operators natin, mga stakeholders in the tourism industry na grabe talaga at walang-wala sila sa ngayon. Dahil nga, ang pinakamalaking block of tourists that we used to get would come from China, pero ngayon tila hindi na-encouraged ang Chinese tourists dito sa Pilipinas. Wala naman nagagawa ang Department of Tourism para maghikayat ng mga bagong darating. So kumbaga, hindi ko na gustong tanungin saan nanggaling yung numbers nyo kasi hindi po talaga nila ma-justify yan. Hi, Mamoka Princess, maraming salamat po. Sabi ni Strictly, the crucial thing na kailangan magawa is to release a statement that these attacks will be addressed properly and an investigation will be conducted. Though I doubt if they will do it in a timely manner. Well, ang feeling ko kasi is itong administrasyon, by not issuing a statement right away, gusto nilang ipalabas na magulo doon sa area na yan ng Pilipinas. Kumbaga, it is para mayroon silang magawang mga measures. Makikialam sila sa LGUs, makikialam sila doon sa they could also, well, one other thing is declare martial law, but we don't know how they're going to justify that. Sabi ni Christopher, dahil sa nangyari, headline na naman ng Pilipinas, lalong babagsak ang tourism industry. Well, bagsak din po ang foreign direct investments, the lowest daw since April 2020. Gagamitin na naman nilang dahilan ito. And so, also affected will be the foreign direct investments kasi babagsak pa rin even more ang confidence ng mga investors sa stability at ekonomiya ng Pilipinas. Sabi ni June Patrick, the best tourism market is China and Korea. Proven ko po yan. Dito ako sa Boracay nag-work. Ay, madalaw ka nga minsan. Sabi ni Strictly, makes sense. Weaponizing na naman towards the Dutertes Baluarte. Absolutely disgusting. Kasi kung ako yan, at sa communications ng administrasyon, maaga pa lang, nung lumilitaw na yung mga reports, ina-address na yan. Dapat Pilipinas pa nga ang nag-provide ng information officially. Dapat in-announce, we are looking into the activities of this, we sympathize with the victims, ganyan-ganyan. Niintay ko yung mga ganong klaseng palabas, pero wala pa rin po yata akong nakikita. Okay, frequently asked question, mayroon na naman nagtanong, "Wala ka na ba sa SPOX?" Hindi ba puwedeng nakabakasyon? Bakit gano'n po yung ina-assume ninyo na wala na, tanggal na, umalis na, puwede ba? 'Di ba? Konting naman. And kung madalas po kayo nanonood dito sa aming mga live, maririnig niyo po na halos araw-araw ini-explain ko, I am just on vacation. Kinasal po kasi ang isang family member namin kaya nandito ako sa ibang bansa. Sabi ni GR Felix, according to Business World, 3.5% less yung tourist arrivals compared to last year. Dapat pataas yung trend. Oo, because all over Southeast Asia, pataas yung trend at nagiging mas marami, ang laki ng tourism traffic nila. During post-pandemic, yung right after, nung nilift na natin yung state of pandemic, state of emergency natin or yung uh, yun, strictures natin on the pandemic, that was the time when we should have worked full force on tourism. Anong unang nangyari? Ang DOT got embroiled in a scandal which was yung video. 'Di ba? Nag-launch sila ng isang very ambitious campaign that supposedly had a 1.2 billion peso budget. So, with the issue of a plagiarized video, yun ang unang-una eh. Tapos yung mga confusing messaging of Love the Philippines. Tignan niyo, ngayon ba naririnig niyo pa yung nag-gain ba ng traction? Did it become popular? Did people around the world respond to Love the Philippines? Parang hindi, wala tayong naririnig tungkol doon. So, unfortunately, after the initial salvo nung Secretary Frasco felt the heat, parang kokonti na lang ang narinig natin sa kanila. Ngayon, ang madalas na lumalabas sa DOT ay yung mga announcements nila na she won something, the Philippines the won something, has been identified as this and that, the best in this, the best in that, but none of these awards are translating into an increase in tourism arrivals. So, we're going to have to look. Tama ba ang response ng DOT doon sa mga problema natin sa turismo? Ano yung number one? Number one, we ticked off a big market. Of course, we're talking about China. Lilitaw na naman dyan yung mga ad hominem attacks na pro-China, pro-China, pro-China. But the president himself seems quite, interested in shaking the hand of the premier of China itself. Ngayon, under Duterte, the Chinese authorities included the Philippines in a list of recommended destinations for vacation. So how a big population of China like to travel, and we were included in that list of suggested destinations. Now, after BBM took over, of course, dahan-dahan na po tayong natanggal dyan. As a matter of fact, during the state visit of President Marcos to China, one of the things that was on the table was the tourism recommendation. But given the the lukewarm response of President Marcos to Premier Xi at the time, of course, hindi na nagka-interest na ituloy yan. Now, other tourism markets such as South Korea, the United States, and so on, we have not been doing anything different. So, unfortunately, our DOT secretary does not understand the tourism product, nor does she understand the marketing approach or campaigns. Interesado lang sila in doing the things that we had always been doing with various degrees of success. Sabi ni Nayan, first 2 years ni B, lakbay ng lakbay sa ibang bansa tapos wala naman palang investment nung dumating. Totoo yan. At panibagong announcement na naman sila na nakasecure ng 20+ billion worth of investments. They're naming one company na siguradong sigurado na daw na pupunta dito at mag-i-invest. Pero hanggang ngayon, ni isang bato ng ng investment na yun wala tayong nakikita. Sabi ni June Patrick, China and Korean tourists are the big spenders because halos lahat ng services ina-avail nila. So we should be targeting these markets, but unfortunately, the tourism arrivals continue to fall. So coming now at the heels of that announcement, ito na ngang identification na nagpunta dito yung mga attackers dun sa Bondi Beach. It's not going to look good for our tourism. Sabi ni Strictly, BBM's wishy-washy attitude towards international relations continues to erode our ties to the global landscape. Nakakapikon ang pagka two-faced ng admin na to, sa totoo lang. Sa totoo lang nga is, di ba, ano yung diplomacy? Ang diplomacy, dapat marunong ka makipag-usap kahit ano, tapos wala kang kalaban or wala kang inaaway, lahat kaibigan mo yan, and you must be able to convince people or to be able to convince people to see it your way. Unfortunately, walang ganong talent si BBM. Sabi ni Chucky Pinero, I'm quoting him, si BBM po ang nanloloko sa China, kaya galit ang China kay Marcos at hindi sa PH. Thank you po kay Angels G at saka kay June Patrick. Maraming salamat po sa tuloy-tuloy ninyong pagsusuporta sa Luminous. Busog Kid says, nakakagalit isipin na kayang mag-donate ng $200,000 sa UN ang gobyerno habang milyong-milyong Pilipino naghihirap, kulang sa trabaho, mahal ang bilihin at kapos sa basic services. May pondo para sa international image pero pagdating sa sariling mamamayan, laging walang budget. Hindi ito malasakit. Misplaced priorities ito. Unahin muna ang Pilipino bago ang popogi sa international stage. Sabi ni Carlos, pinagmalaki ang 5 million tourists ngayon pero ang tanong, ilang Pilipino dyan ang may dual citizenship na foreign passport ginamit sa immigration? Yun na nga. That has been a favorite tactic ng tourism officials natin ever since. Since nagkaroon ng, but if you'll remember, yung concept ng balikbayan o yung term na balikbayan was popularized during the Marcos era when we decided to tap the market of Filipinos who were already living and working abroad to come home. Uwi muna kayo, kahit bumisita lang. And so that strategy has been working for the longest time. Unfortunately, it does not bring in additional kumbaga visitors. Kumbaga, as always, ang OFWs natin, ilang beses tayong iniaangat. They keep our economy afloat sa dami ng dollars na pinapadala nila sa Pilipinas regularly. Tapos pag umuwi sila, may additional na ginagastos pa sila uli sa Pilipinas. However, this is already an overtapped market. Kumbaga, andyan na yan. We should include that as an institutional arrival. Yung no matter what you do, uuwi at uuwi ang mga OFWs, with the exception is kung mismanaged ng administrasyon ang ekonomiya, ang crime rate and so on, walang uuwi. So again, what does it take? What the DOT secretary has failed to do was to establish linkages with the other departments para maayos yung infrastructure. So how does tourism get people into the Philippines? Wala, matagal pa ang Bulacan Airport. Yung other airports naman are not kumbaga operating at better capacities. Ang pinakamalaking reklamo sa Pilipinas ay napakamahal compared doon sa ibang mga tourism destinations, to the point na kahit ang mga Pilipino ay mas gusto pang magbakasyon abroad dahil mas mura kaysa sa magbakasyon ka sa mga local Philippine tourism destinations. Nagsa-start yan with the expensive plane tickets. So, bakit mahal ang plane ticket sa Pilipinas? It's because the premier airport, what we call the NAIA, has only one working runway. And by working, they have 2 runways actually, pero hindi nagagamit yung isa because it is perpendicular to the current runway. So it's very dangerous to use at any point, lalong-lalo na kung may nagte-take off doon sa main runway. This means we have a limited amount of takeoffs and landings that can be done within 1 day. So kahit 24 hours ang takeoffs and landings sa mga airport natin, there's only so much. Hi, I am Chris Pulong. There's only so much that you can do to increase the number of arrivals via plane. So the logical thing to do was to encourage arrivals of tourists through other means, hindi air travel. So nasaan yung mga yung mga cruise lines? We have a lot of local shipping, but they have not progressed beyond the normal cargo transports. Merong iba na nagbakasakali at some of them now actually move people, but these are not for tourism purposes and are mostly catering to a local market. So hindi po naaayos. There was one arrival, if I'm not mistaken, ng isang cruise liner, but it was so badly handled that it appears that it will not likely be repeated for a while. It seems that the infrastructure for alternative means of getting tourism arrivals, getting tourists to arrive in the Philippines has not been addressed. Ayan na naman, puntos na naman laban kay Secretary Cristina Frasco. So, but there are other airports like there's Cebu, there's Davao. There are other Philippine international airports all over the country. Pero halos lahat naglalanding pa rin sa Manila. Bakit? The infrastructure is there. There has to be immigrations, there has to be all of that. Hindi maliwanag kung bakit hindi natin ini-encourage ang arrivals in the regions. Like straight flights to Davao, straight flights to Bohol, straight flights to Bicol, and so on. Hindi masyado pong na-encourage yan. And again, this is a failing of the DOT to link up with the DOTR and other agencies. Now, the underlying, under all of these, of course, is the problem of corruption. Bakit? Well, the infrastructure for our tourism arrivals is not there. And therefore, it behooves us to create this infrastructure o encourage the flights to arrive na in other regions. Hindi nagagawa. Bakit? Di nag-uusap ang DOT at DOTR. What about the additional airports? PRD had directed that Clark and Cavite airports be used for let's say yung mga locals, if we're just traveling locally, para mas madami ang mga international na landings, well, both in Clark and in NAIA. Hindi po sure kung ano na nangyari sa mga plano na yon. Now, let's look at Clark Airport. Bakit na kukonti ang mga naglalanding doon na international flights? Primarily because it is very expensive. Now, feeling ito ng DOTR under the Duterte administration. I mean, we call a spade, ganun talaga. But under the Marcos administration, no major changes have been made. Nothing has been done to increase the arrivals through Clark Airport. Wala. Again, hindi talaga ginagawa ng current administration yung pag-address ng mga issues na ito. No, bakit? Well, ang theory ko is they're so concerned with politics. Ang laki ng resources na dinidevote nila para siraan si VP Inday Sara, ang mga Dabawenyo, ang mga Duterte, PRD, they spend so much on protecting each other's back when it comes to corruption. They spend so much time on communications geared towards a political purpose, such as but not limited to the 2028 elections. So, kumbaga, this administration has prioritized politics above the welfare of the people at kitang-kita natin dito. A strict administration that understands the needs of national security would have prioritized itong mga immigration policies natin. It should prioritize yung safety and security of our own country, pero it doesn't appear that way. Hindi po rin natin nakikita kung ano sa ngayon ang ginagawa ng ating Pangulo pagdating sa pag-address ng mga issues na ito. May napabayaan ba sa immigrations? May nagpabaya ba sa immigrations? Ina-address na ba natin yung possible free fall ng rates ng tourism arrivals dito sa Pilipinas? What about the lack of foreign direct investments? Wala pa rin nagagawa or wala pa rin nakatutok para maghikayat ng mga bagong investments sa Pilipinas. It's circular. Kumbaga, it's a circular argument. If you don't put in the infrastructure, if you don't put in the policies, if you don't put in the work, hindi dadating ang mga investors, hindi dadating ang mga turista. And pag hindi sila dumadating, lalo namang hindi nila ina-address, and so it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse.